You're listening to the Beat Motel Zine podcast, and we need to warn you that we use words like shit, bollocks, scrotics, fuck, anarcho-syndicalist, and cunt, and we don't normally beat those words out, apart from the word cunt, because we're not total animals. Now, we know as well as you that your children can hear these words on any street in Britain, possibly any street anywhere in the world, but we also appreciate that you may not want to invite these words into your home if you have children or sensitive pets nearby whilst listening to this podcast. So listener discretion is advised. Oops. That being said, if your children aren't allergic to hearing words like fuck, shit, buttocks or hind penis, they might learn something from listening to this podcast, although probably not, because the quality of our educational content is quite poor. So there you go, fuckers, buckle in and let's get started. I keep thinking of changing that disclaimer, but it hasn't got old for me yet.
Yeah, keep it.
I'll keep it. Right, you're back with Beat Motel. I am Andrew Culture. Sam is off on tour again. Something to do with somebody with big ears, but I'll leave you to decide what that means. So I have a returning guest. You're the first returning guest ever, Jay.
Amazing. Thanks for having me back. I enjoyed it last time.
Lovely to have you back. So this is Jay Trenchart, who I know through bloody loads of stuff.
Yeah. Music stuff mainly, right?
Music stuff, yeah. I've never seen you naked. Well, not seen you naked yet, I should say. Just because you never know what happens at noise shows. Anything can happen.
True story.
Right. So we have a theme, and this is yours, Jay. So what's today's theme?
It is the bestest music live shows on YouTube ever.
Excellent. Love it. So let's start with Riff of the Week, which isn't part of that theme. It's just something we're enjoying or something we've got stuck in our head or, I don't know, something we just fancied playing. And here is Jay's Riff of the Week.
So starving. I was holding some water pills. I was reading that smoking kills. I was so starving. And I was walking through Ridgewood, Queens. I was flipping through magazines. I was starving.
So who was that?
That was Parquet Courts.
With Stoned and Starving. Every time I hear Parquet Courts, I think, yep, I must listen to a whole Parquet Courts album. But never do.
That's from my favourite album, and that's my favourite track from it. The latest stuff, the album that came after that was a little bit funky, and I wasn't quite into it. But that track's just
funk.
That's just a great track. I love it.
It's cool because it's like Noi or some sort of krautrock, but just got so much more oomph to it and so much more kind of grind. It's not that it's looser; it's just a bit flabby around the edges, a bit more it's got a bit more of a hip swing when it walks.
Yeah, and it is the pace of walking. You know, the song's called Stoned and Starving, and it just makes you think of somebody kind of just like walking around a city, just thinking about what to eat and thinking about different things at that kind of at that rate, you know.
I like it. I like songs with an important message, songs I can relate to. Not that I do walk around stoned and starving. I'm a very sensible person, and never. There's never more than a couple of hours between meals with me. I'm a big lad. I've got a big tank I need to keep full.
Where's your track then?
Where's my track? Well, my track is this one. That's a band called Fat Dog, and the track is called All the Same.
Ah.
I chose that because we saw this band, not you and I, but the Royal We, Brighton the Corners last year. And I found out at the time that they'd just been signed to Domino, although it was a big secret at the time. And it's one of the best live shows I've ever seen. So it is kind of possibly almost, it's an adjacent themed Riff of the Week for what we're talking about this week. But I chose it because the gig was astonishing. The band members they turned up absolutely bollocks, like in a real mess. And Gareth, our mutual sound engineer friend was so concerned about the state of them, he gave the drummer a bucket to have next to him on stage, because he was literally throwing up as he was walking to the stage, and then got on stage. And then they just played this amazing. What, you've ever been to a gig but you can't actually remember what the music sounds like or the songs or anything? It's just kind of like, just generally everything was brilliant.
Yeah.
And they got everybody kind of crouching down and laying on the floor. And Lou, singer from Dystopian Sound Collective, who's got I think she had bright blue hair at the time, just stood out like a doozer, like a Smurf. What were they called? Doozers? They weren't. What were they called? A Fraggle.
Yeah, that was Fraggle Rock, I think, wasn't it?
I was getting my childhood memes mixed up. But they've suddenly sort of exploded onto Six Music, and that song is better than their first one they released. The first one they released, they're really odd because they sort of are and aren't electronic. And a lot of the stuff they do sounds sort of Middle Eastern, but that track, all the same, it changes so much throughout the track. It was really difficult to choose a representative 30 seconds.
Yeah. Do you go to a lot of festivals in Brighton?
Yeah, there's Brighton the Corners, which is everything's very upbeat, and then also in Brighton is Darken the Corners, which is all kind of goth. And then there's Polish the Corners, which is pop. There's Shit in the Corners, which is grindcore. Have you seen that grindcore meme? There's God, should never talk about memes.
I have. Yeah, it's got the picture at the bottom is somebody like laying on the floor with like shit over a cabinet. Is that the one? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. It's like punk, and it's like just someone sticking their fingers up with mohawk metals, like, you know, someone throwing up the metal horns in grindcore. Yeah, someone's just a spray of shit going up the wall. Oh, I love it. Have you ever been in a grindcore band?
No.
No.
I
can see sort of grindcore Italian books crossover working.
Yeah. No, I don't think. I've kind of never been in anything kind of blast beaty, really.
I always like the idea of it, but I think I'm probably all right with not playing fast. I think I've done my playing fast. I used to play insanely fast on bass, just one note, not like. You know, the left hand would just be like holding down one note. The right hand, though, that'll go like clappers, that one.
I'm getting a bit old for it all, really.
Yeah, well, that's
weird
exactly.
As well, how like if you're right-handed, you're actually doing all the complicated stuff with your left hand.
No, see, I've given this a lot of thought, and I think it's because the complicated stuff isn't actually holding down the strings and holding chords or notes. I think that's actually fairly easy. I think the skill is in your right hand.
Do you think?
You think holding down a note is quite a mechanical kind of tonk, 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 you know, just plonking your fingers on the strings. Whereas what your right hand has to do, it has to move very, very accurately, sort of back and forth and change attack and aggression and whatever. So no, I thought about that for years, and I think that's the answer.
Right, you might be right.
The other thing with kind of getting older and playing is, have you noticed your guitar getting higher, or do you still have it down by your knees?
It makes a difference. I play it sitting down these days.
It's like a natural progression to, like, you start off with like Dee Dee Ramone style, like on your shins, and it gets up to your crotch by you're in your 30s. Your early 40s, you're not quite emo height, not kind of like Mark King bass under your chin thing. Yeah, and then 50, just fuck it, I'm sitting down.
It is. I do think it is kind of easier to play higher, though.
It is, but it just looks so shit.
Yeah. Unless you're kind of that post-hardcore bend at the middle thing, and then it would get in the way, wouldn't it? That's why they're like.
Well, this is why my bass is so fucked up and covered in gouges and stuff, because I played it low and kind of threw myself about. I found out that the more you throw yourself about on stage, the less people notice that you can't actually play.
Yeah.
You said once. I don't know how you play, kind of like chucking yourself about like that. And it's like, because I can't really play. just makes it look like I know what I'm doing. Yeah.
Yeah. I think not practicing sitting down probably helps.
Oh man. With End Times, I used to sit down. The first few years of End Times, I used to just sit down at the back. But that's partly because I had fuck all to do for most of the set. Just sit there and wait for everyone else to sort of fire up. Me and drummer Dom used to sit and just sit and chat at the back. And I've had like a nice little sit down. I thought, well, he's sat down, so why can't I sit down? Right, so we are going to go for your first choice now. So, say the title of the episode is Best Gigs on YouTube in the World Ever, which is a play on those albums that came out, like the best punk album in the world ever. And because I thought that was clever.
Well done.
So, thank you. So let's go for your first selection. I've got to say, listener, this is really, really worth going to the website beatmotel.com to get the details and the show notes for this, because I'm including links to all the YouTube videos in the show notes. Not just that, I've done that thing where you can set it up where you embed it and it starts at a certain time. So when we set up these clips for every Beat Motel episode, we always write on the show notes what timestamp, what starting point we've chosen for our 30 seconds. So there's a reason to go to the website. So Jay's first choice, I think I'm thinking this is the sort of music for dinner party around at your house. Would that be fair?
Very possibly. I don't know what order you're going to play them in. But yeah, definitely sophisticated dinner party music.
I always do them in the order that the guest or Sam, Dr. Sam, suggests them, because I think it's like mixtape rules. You have to respect the order.
Right.
It's really important. So, picture the scene. What sort of meal? What's your favourite meal to cook? To
cook?
Yeah.
Probably just bung in some noodles and a boiled egg. It's quick and it's easy, and you can multitask when you're cooking that.
Right, so you're around at Jay's. He's brought out the noodles and a boiled egg.
For a dinner party.
For a dinner party, yeah.
Easy on yourself.
Have you ever had a dinner party? I don't think I've ever had a dinner party.
Not that I would call a dinner party. Did you know the drummer from A Horse Called War was on Come Dine With Me? Matt Cooper was on.
Was he really?
Yeah, true story.
How did he do?
I think he lost, but he was funny.
Do you remember a band called Pickle Dick?
No.
They played Ipswich a bunch of times. Pickle John was on Come Dine With Me, and he got his lad out. He was well known for getting his lad out. I don't think I ever saw them play at the Steamboat. They're from Brighton. Or Guildford. I don't think I ever saw them play at the Steamboat without him getting stark bollock naked.
I don't know.
No one ever asked him to. Pardon?
There's laws against that kind of thing,
The thing is, he did it so much, it kind of lost its sting, really. Just like, oh, John's naked again. Anyway, so your dear listener, you're at an imaginary dinner party, and Jay puts on this light conversational music. Go on, what is that?
That was Koufar. That was Koufar live at Club Rectum, I believe.
Club Rectum. I mean, just wonderful.
Yeah. So I kind of I got into noise music, and I was going through YouTube, and this video was the one that I was like, oh my god, I love this so much. It's kind of got elements of hardcore in there as well. I was down to B&Q buying a trestle table very, very soon afterwards.
I love the fact that in the video they have the classic noise gig trestle table. It's so ubiquitous.
It's brilliant. It's like and in the background they've got Sammy, who now plays in Koufar as well, and like there's various other people in bands. There's the guy there from Interracial Sex, which are a great live band. Not that easy to Google. As a live act. If you go to special interests forum, then type it in. There's some links there, which is a way to navigate your way to see Interracial Sex. But yeah, Koufar are great. That's Max Shami's band. He's also in God Is War and Terracell Unit, which are another couple of great kind of power electronics acts. Brilliant.
It's really interesting because when I clipped it, I've not seen that before, and my first thought when I pressed play was fucking hell. Just like, it's such an assault. It actually made me feel a bit anxious, like, oh God. But having now heard it for a second time, within 12 hours or so, because I only clipped these last night, I suddenly hear so much more in it. And that's one of the things that really interests me about a lot of noise music, especially the sort of thing you do, Joe, with Italian books, is that on first listen, it's too much. It's overwhelming. But the next time you see someone, and then the third and the fourth time, you start to go, this is not, it's not just a matter of it being impressive because it's just an all-out assault, all in the red or go to bed, as we say, that you start to go, shit, there's a lot of complexity in here.
I always think noise music is much like art. When you're young, you look at Renaissance paintings or whatever, and it's really relatable. You can see that it's good, And then as time goes on, you get into kind of more abstract art, the stuff that you just like, when you first saw it, you just like, that's rubbish, I could do that. But you kind of get an appreciation and understanding for it. And I think music can be like that with noise music. I think the two things are quite similar.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I feel the same way about both wine and whiskey. When you're young drinking wine, you go for like the big reds, the Shirazes, and the really brutal things. And then as you get older, you start to enjoy the subtleties of the occasional French wine. And whiskey, you go for the big peaty Islay whiskies, and then you end up on the Highland ones.
You see, I don't get it, because I'll drink a little bit of wine and a little bit of whiskey, then I'm pissed. I could be drinking anything. I wouldn't fucking know. It just makes no difference. So it's like, it's almost subtleties. Like if this posh wine is working, then it doesn't matter what it tastes like. But that's just me, anyway.
I remember many years ago deciding that I had a mild preference for Tennant Super over other super strength lagers, and I thought having a preference is probably a problem. It's probably not a good thing.
I once went to see a band in London, and there was a bus trip from Ipswich, and I'm talking 30 years ago. And I had a 4-pack on the bus, and I took a 4-pack of Tennant Super on the bus. It's 9%.
On the fucking bus?
So, yeah, I kind of drunk it, and I think I had all 4 cans. There's no toilet on the bus, and the driver wouldn't pull over. So I was, like, well drunk and really, really, really needed a piss. And I just remember, like, when it pulled up at Camden, I think it was, like, at the garage or something, the gig, just, like, getting out of the bus and just being, like, straight away, just having Now, if the bus wouldn't stop, I'd just be like, right, man, you're going to clear it up. I'd be like, but I was a bit younger then, a bit more kind of like, yeah, crazy.
Sorry, 4 cans of Tennant.
Yeah.
That is, I'm surprised you're even conscious.
I think I drank them. I might not have drunk them all, but I certainly was drunk and I certainly needed a wee.
So so you would have been in your 20s 30 years ago, or possibly a little bit younger. I think 1 can would about do me. Would about be all that was needed to work, to put it into your context.
I think it might have been an Ipswich band. I think it might have been the Crane Flies were playing in London.
I didn't heard of them. Rightly. Who were the Crane Flies?
I can't remember the guy's name.
Not that it's going to mean anything to most listeners.
Or anything. They're a good band, though.
Oh, cool. So you had a good time, apart from your kidneys nearly exploding on the bus.
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't think of anything worse. I'm so grateful. There's little advancements in mankind that I don't think people celebrate enough, and one of them is that coaches generally have a toilet now.
Yeah.
I think that's just mankind has moved forward. For all the kind of the war and the miserable stuff, you can now take a piss on a bus.
Yeah, trains are better though, aren't they?
They are better, but I was looking after my niece and nephew a couple of weeks ago, and we went for a day trip to Lowestoft because we were thinking, why have we never been to Lowestoft? And then we found out, and he needed a wee on the train, bless him. And despite the fact they live next to a train station, they don't appear to have been on trains around. I said, okay, sure, it's there, and they've got these huge doors. The doors are massive, so you can easily get a wheelchair in. Again, another advancement of mankind. So he walks in, and he just walked up to the toilet and just went to drop his trousers. No, you've got to shut the door first.
You're not home now.
Like panoramic view, because you could just see down all the carriages. And I was thinking, God, there would have been so many people. And then he did his business, and he came back out, and he just went, that was really difficult. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, the train kept moving all over the place. I was thinking, oh, God, what's he done? And bless him, like, he didn't make a mess because his sister went in afterwards and she would have let us know. But I said to him, I told him one of those lies that you tell children. I was saying, oh, gentlemen sit down on a train. It's like I'd ever sit down to have a piss on a train. Anyway, we're going wildly off track. Thank you for Koufar. Is it Koufar?
Koufar. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce it. I'm not sure that it matters too much.
Yeah, you're giving it the slightly more North Suffolk twang to my South Suffolk twang.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what it means. I think it means like war in Lebanese. A lot of his projects about the history of Lebanon. So it's like really, really so much to the project. It's a really good project to check out.
I want to know if Club Rectum is the name of the venue or just the name of the club night.
I think that it's the name of the venue. I think it was
really. I've got to know now.
I think it was that might have been Summer Scum. That might have been part of the Summer Scum Festival, perhaps. I could be wrong.
Scumfest T-shirts were always a bold thing to buy because I can remember one year the Scumfest T-shirts, they put the logo in such a way on the shirt that if people wore it with a jacket, it just said Cumfest. Oh man,
maybe I'm getting mixed up. Maybe it's not Summer Scum then. Is that not a noise thing?
I've looked up Club Rectum and the first result in Google is Rectum Private Gay Men Club Fetish Cruising in Barcelona.
Oh, right.
So
that's not Barcelona, I'm pretty sure. So it's a different one.
And then after that, I'm not sure I want to click on any of the... Oh, God, there's image searches. It's not
Club Rectum, is it? Club Rectum's where they used to do like psychobilly stuff, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
No, that's Club Foot.
Yes.
No, that's Club
Foot and Rectum confused. Your toilet times must be a nightmare. Kids coming in from a mud. Sorry, I've amused myself with the thought that I'm going to have to share. Like, you kind of in Jay's in your house, kind of getting confused between like your foot and your rectum. Like kids come in from the kids. Don't forget.
It's early though. We're doing this podcast at 11. We haven't been up long, right?
No, kids, don't forget to wipe your rectum on the mat. Oh man! All I need is a word like rectum, and I'm just off in my happy place. Right, before this absolutely goes to shit, I'm going to play my first choice. We are a podcast of light and shade and different things. Do you have a guess at who that was?
No idea.
That was Pentangle. Have you heard of Pentangle?
I don't think I have. Good though.
I chose that because the joy of YouTube and live music on YouTube is the rabbits warren thing. Is that what I mean? The rabbit hole thing. The rabbit rectum thing, where you watch one video and then another one gets suggested and you just sort of let it roll on, and possibly because you had 4 cans of tenant soup, and you end up just discovering something that you wouldn't choose to go and listen to. So Pentangle were fairly famous, like psych folk band from the late 60s,
right.
And this video, again, really hard to choose a 30 seconds that actually sums up the whole thing, but it's one of the video that was recorded in a studio, I'm guessing for a TV channel, but it's in 4K. And I love that these 4K bits of footage have started popping up, and because it's so weird seeing 4K stuff on YouTube now. It looks like it was filmed like a couple of days ago. But that track really sort of opened up a side of folk music to me that I didn't know existed. It's quite bombastic, a lot of it, and I like the slightly psychedelic stuff, and that was just cool. I just thought I'd chuck that in there as a little bit of a texture. Nice. I thought it would go nicely with Koufar.
I'll click the link and watch it later on. And
it's nice. It's I always say with folk, I don't like trad folk really. I don't like the sort of hey nonny nonny. It's I feel the same way about it as I do like modern country music, just like modern 90s country music rather than modern country music. Because I can remember one of your suggestions last time was one or two country tracks actually that I really enjoyed. Who was it? It was the guy
Slim Cessna's Auto Club.
Yeah, that was it. So yeah, I flat up can't say I hate country anymore. It's just not possible.
It's a wide genre.
It's a wide genre, and right. So let's go for your next track. I was just dropping that in there just as a little bit of garnish. Yeah. So here's Jay's next choice.
When you're wet, sleepless, now the short one, you're so physical, just
Who was that, Jay?
That was Adam and the Ants.
I am always fascinated to learn more about Adam and the Ants because I'm ever so slightly younger than you, literally by only like I think a year or two.
Yeah.
So my first experience of Adam Ant, I think, rather than Adam and the Ants, was Prince Charming and whatever, and everyone at school playground, Prince Charming, doing the dance and putting a band-aid on their nose and all that stuff. So whenever I hear like the more punky, especially looser Adam and the Ants, I'm still always surprised by it. Was that an Olivia Neutron Bomb? Olivia, what's her name? Was that a cover?
John song? I don't know. I always thought it was an Adam and the Ants song. I could be wrong.
I just thought physical.
Oh no, it's not. It's not that one. No, it's not that. It's not that track. no. So yeah. I was like 7 or 8 when, for my birthday, my uncle bought me Kings of the Wild Frontier on tape, and like Adam and the Ants, it was like they were the band that I was like, oh, I want to be in a band. You know, seeing them as a kid, and it was all like, it's really good to be able to watch these live gigs back, because back when I was a kid, they were on Top of the Pops miming or on like some Saturday morning TV show. And it was, although it was still good, you know, they were dancing around. It's really good to see them live in their prime, you know, like on video, because none of that stuff was ever televised, or not that I saw, like when I was a kid.
It's one of the cool things that there's still things coming out, you know, sort of being discovered and being put online. When I was looking for one of my later choices, I found there's loads more stuff by this band, I should say, on YouTube than there was last time I looked. And
totally.
One of the comments was just, I completely forgot I had this on Cinefilm or whatever, but the Adam and the Ants thing, the quality is actually pretty decent. It's filmed for release or TV or something. It's proper camera angles and all that.
Yeah, it was live. I think that was from live in Manchester, that show. So it's when I was in my teens, they had like all the punk rock fanzines, as you well know, and somebody was like screen printing T-shirts, and I bought a Black Flag T-shirt, and it said Black Flag and it had the Black Flag logo, and underneath it said Kills Ants, and I had the T-shirt for years, and I never really thought much about it, but then I can't remember if it was a podcast or I read it. Years later, it turned out that Black Flag were playing in the city the same night as Adam and the Ants, and so Adam and the Ants were, in their early days, very much part of this kind of like British punk scene. So like there was conflict in the scene. It was like, who are you going to go and see tonight? Are you going to go see Black Flag, or are you going to go and see Adam and the Ants? So I had this T-shirt through my teens, and it was only like fairly recently that I read about what the Kills Ants thing was about, which was quite interesting.
Well, it is really interesting, and it's kind of mind blowing that you know, people say like historically Queen Elizabeth was alive at the same time as, I don't know, Confucius or something, and you're like, well, really? And just the idea that you forget that Adam and the Ants and Black Flag were about at the same time.
Yeah,
that's
Thanks,
wild.
Internet, you know.
What'd you say?
Pointing these things out, you know, these little stories is great.
Do you know, I think I'd quite happily not have a job, and I'd just research punk bands. I'd just spend all my time reading up on punk stuff.
I'd quite happily not have a job as well. That's totally.
That was very cool, and I know at least a few of our listeners who are regular listeners will very much enjoy hearing us talk about Adam and the Ants. So they looked cool as shit, though. That video, I never got how great they looked.
It wouldn't be allowed now, that kind of cultural appropriation thing, you know, with the kind of Native Americans and.
I didn't twig that at all.
Yeah, they were very much like even musically and in what they wore. Like there was like a pirate thing and a highwayman thing and a Native American thing, and it was all kind of wrapped up into this kind of world fantasy that was created by Stuart Goddard, Adam Ant. Yeah, it's really another thing that's on YouTube. It's not a live show, but it's on YouTube, and it's got the Adam and the Ant demos, and it's just Adam Ant like singing. It's really badly, playing guitar really terribly. It sounds awful, but it's brilliant for that reason, and that's worth checking out. Like Adam and the Ants demos or something is called on YouTube. That's worth having a hunt for.
I love anything like that, and it's one of the things I have a sort of a love-hate relationship with NoFX. But one of the things that they did that I liked, there was an album. There was an album where they put Fat Mike's acoustic guitar demos of all the tracks or bits of them on the end of the album, and I thought that was just quite cool. But a lot of stuff with NoFX, you find out that they're just copying something that somebody else has done at some point, which is fine. That's all right. You know, they don't owe us originality.
Have you seen? Have you heard about the band? I think it was the band Mincer. They had a track called. They're an Ipswich band, Ipswich like punk band, and they had a track called "I Want to Be Feral."
Right.
And they asked James Domestic to say "I want to be feral" as he does, you know, for this track. So he sent a recording over of him going, "I want to be feral. I want to be feral. I want to be feral." And they put that right at the end of the track. And it's had loads of hits on Bandcamp, more than any of the songs, but it's really funny. It's really well worth checking out. Just James Domestic saying, "I want to be feral."
So Mincer must be a current band then.
Were they called Nazi Mincer for a while or something like that? And then they changed their name to Mincer, I think.
I don't know. God, it upsets me and troubles me that I used to be so at one with like the Ipswich punk scene. I used to put on so many gigs, and I still know everyone. I'll go to a gig now, and it is like walking into a room full of the bestest, oldest friends ever. But it kind of bothers me that I don't know all the band names. It used to all be locked away up here, you know. It used to all be up here.
They were kind of on my radar, but Callis played me that. Callis from DS Happy Boy played me that kind of spoken word James Domestic track that's just brilliant.
I'm going to have to go look that up. I've never met the man. We've sort of emailed each other and messaged each other and sent zines to each other. Somehow never... I must have been in the same room as him. There's no way that can't have happened.
Yeah, he's a top lad.
He'll probably tell me now that, the Domestics. He'll probably tell me now that, we've had long conversations, which might have been not because of Tenant Super, but because of... I've never seen Tenant Super on Draft. Have you seen? I don't know why you've really sort of triggered something with your Tenant Super story.
It was like 1% down from Special Brew, wasn't it?
See, after a gig in London not that many years ago, me and Dr. Sam, my co-host, dared each other to buy. It's so lame. We're like men in I was in my 40s. Dared each other to drink a can of Special Brew after a gig, and it's actually nice. It's actually pleasant.
It
Tenant
tastes
Super
really metallic, doesn't it?
But it just tastes like Belgian beer. It just tastes like most blonde Belgian beer. It's not as strong now, though. They've reduced it.
The hangover can be a right pain in the foot, though, can't it?
Oh, man, that's my favouriteest thing of the day so far. And it is early, but I think that's going to remain the favouriteest thing. Kids, wipe your rectum on the way in. It's just... Right, let's go for my next one.
I didn't
that
see
was,
that change coming.
No, that's why I chose that exact bit, and it took me fucking ages to like skipping backwards and forwards, because when you got a long, you know, like a full set, and it's like an hour or something. This one, it's at Rival Consoles, doing Boiler Room, and then there's stuff I don't understand, like it says Mutec MX something. But yeah, when you've got like an hour set, trying to find a particular bit, you have to be really, really precise with the little, what is it? Playhead, little slidery thing.
Yeah. Cursor. I don't know. Didn't you go and see him in London? You and
I've
Matt?
seen him a bunch of times. Yeah, there's a big Motel episode when Matt Fantastic and I reviewed it. But I chose this because it was an example of again discovering something that I didn't really know existed, and I quite like finding long sets, live sets on YouTube. And I'm not being a ponce here, but I've got a bunch of screens both here and at my home studio. Well, it's because it's why I use screens for a living, so I can have a video playing on, you know, the screen over there, and it's quite nice just to sort of work along with and listen to the music. But it was that bit, which is 21 minutes and 39 seconds into the track, where it just suddenly goes dum dum, I just going, wow, that's fucking brilliant, and then went off and discovered more about Rival Consoles and have been a fanboy ever since.
Rival Consoles, like, don't tell Andrew that was a fucking accident.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
I did wonder in the video, he puts his pint down and then like quickly spills it everywhere. But it is I quite like the Boiler Room things. They always seem to be a little bit more interesting. I've always thought that bands that I'm in, it should always be an event rather than a gig. It should always be something a bit more than just turning up and playing, and it doesn't have to be pretentious. But I like the Boiler Room sets because they are always something interesting. There's like a DJ set by Francois X that I really like, and his decks are in the middle of this huge crowd. And there's no barriers or security or people. It must have been a real pain in the arse to actually DJ, but they don't. I was going to say his records get scratched, but they don't do that now, do they? No, I nearly got kicked out of a nightclub in Felixstowe once because when I was at college, I was doing the course you do before nursing, so I was the only bloke on a course of like 50. So we used to go out on the Raz in Felixstowe with my girlfriends, you know what I mean, my friends. And they used to take great delight in shoving me into the DJ booth when we were in scrappy nightclubs. And they managed to shove me. I would always manage to dodge it or not. But they managed to shove me and I hit the DJ booth in a place called Metropolis or something. And literally the music stopped like that. And I took round and the DJ was, he was not a happy lad. And I managed to sort of dissolve into the crowd and then say, I think we need to leave. Yes,
it happens
right.
all the time for DJs. Surely, you know, people banging into them and.
What does it matter now? They use memory sticks and stuff. It'd have to be a fair old shove for a memory stick to pop out. I don't know. I don't fully understand the technology. Right, let's go for your next choice, which I'm just going to say before I press play is something I've known about for years and have been meaning to watch for years. So first of all, thank you for reminding me this exists. So ropey. Sound quality is abysmal, but it's still fantastic.
It's so the camera's like really directional. If you watch the whole thing, it's like as he pans away, you hear nothing. So that's
sound
like,
just goes woof.
Yeah, it just completely goes away. So yeah, like fucked up at 2:00 in the morning, live on a bridge. At the beginning, they say, "If anyone dies, don't tell the cops," and they go straight into it.
God, that album though, is it Modern Chemistry? What's it
Something
called?
of Life, isn't it?
Oh, I've got to know now. That when Fucked Up first came out, they were so hyped. They were at the time I was trading tons of zines. So I was getting probably 20, 30 zines a month sometimes. Yeah, that's it. What's it called?
It's Hidden World.
Hidden World, right.
And that track's Bait in the Public.
And Fucked Up were literally in every single punk scene there was. All of them. Just like everyone was going nuts for them. And when that happens with a band, it pretty much puts me off them because punk rock ruined my life. And if something's popular, then ergo it's shit, which is what you believe when you're younger. And I thought I can remember I got sent Hidden World to review. And I can remember being quite blasé about it, just chucked it on the pile. And when I came to review it, I was like, oh, great, it's Fucked Up, that band everyone goes on about. So I was quite kind of anti it. And I put it on and just went, holy shit, this is fucking brilliant. And it really, 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 really is good. Like, oh, there's so many brilliant, I've run out of words.
Yeah, I had, when I was in Volunteers, we were playing with Fucked Up in Sheffield, and I didn't really know much about the band. Yeah, I know. And I didn't know much about the band. And Alan, I think his name was, from Zombie Death Squad. I don't know if you remember that band. They're brilliant. They were an excellent band. He was like, oh my God, they're my favourite band. And yeah, seeing them live, I was like, oh yeah, they're great. I loved them.
I wish I had seen them, especially that era. It's typical dickhead music fan thing that I really loved that. And I quite liked the album that came after it. And then I just sort of forgot about them. I know forgot they existed.
You were at that Norwich show though, weren't you?
I've never seen them. I've never seen them live.
Did you not get into that Norwich show? There was when they played with SSS, Gallows and Face to Face.
Shit, they Fucked Up played that gig.
Did we not chat about that? Yeah,
we did. I didn't.
Face to Face and SSS.
Yeah, I didn't get in. And shit, that must have been before I'd heard Fucked Up, because I rang the PR agent. The PR agent was like, look, just buy a ticket and I'll refund you. And I was being a twat. I've got no, there's no defense at all for me being annoyed with the security staff for not letting me in when I was on the guest list. But if I had have heard Fucked Up before then, I would have done anything I could to get into that room. UEA, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really busy. God. It was really. I just remember it to be massively busy, that show.
So were people into Fucked Up? Was everyone singing along?
I think Fucked Up and Gallows were the main pull. SSS were like a kind of a thrash band that were doing quite well. It had they were from Liverpool, I believe, and then I think Face to Face played, which I'm not really into Face to Face, to be honest, but.
You know, it could be a good idea for an episode. Like, I'm going to make a note, actually, that bands that you can't hear because everyone's singing along. So Against Me is another example. Go and see Against Me. You will hear the band, but you'll hear the crowd singing along much, much louder than the band.
Out of my video selections, Fucked Up are the odd band out, I realised, after watching it. I'll come back to it in a little while, but I'm going to open a little can of worms with you in a little while.
Yeah, thanks for that. That reminded me that I need to listen to Hidden World again, because it just start to finish. What an album!
Yeah,
so good.
It is a cracker. It is a cracker.
Right, let's go for my next choice. And this isn't going to sound great, but I'll again, listeners, go to the website and watch the video, and you'll get it. Actually, chills. I got chills up the back of my spine. Just how exciting I find that. That's a band called Crime in Stereo.
Oh, okay. They're like
they kind of start. They started off on Bridge 9,
right?
So yeah, they were kind of a hardcore band. But that video, I can remember I got sent their album and thought it's really good. Just thought this is really decent. It's called The War on Terror or something like that, and. I was like, yeah, I really connect with this. I really like this kind of hardcore. I really like this kind of sing-along stuff. So I looked them up on YouTube, and they didn't really have, the bands still weren't really making videos then. And I found this video, which took me forever to find last night when I was clipping this. And it's the band in a church hall somewhere in, God knows where it is. And what you hear at the start is they're just sort of stood with people all around them, like really crowded in. And they're just sort of, you hear they're just sort of tuning up, and the singer's sort of, you know, pacing around like that. And it's everyone's completely right up at the front, no space between them and the band, no barrier, no stage or anything. And that, when they just start, everyone goes from standing there to go absolutely fucking berserk. And by the time he does that first, singer's already in the crowd, just like his legs up in the air and like trying to get back up onto his feet, and everyone trying to help him up, but too many people trying to help him, practically like throwing him across the room. And then a little bit later on, he sort of reels back like that, comes forward, and someone accidentally hits him in the stomach. Not punch, you know, just he gets hit in the stomach and throws up and just carries on. And it's just, I remember seeing that and go, I want to see hardcore gigs like that.
Magic, in it.
I want to be more of a part of that than I've ever been. Just that pure excitement. Again, everyone singing along, everyone knowing every word.
That's it. Yeah.
To every song.
Yeah. You know, Victory Records and Bridge 9, you know, they were kind of massive for a while, all those bands, weren't they? And there's loads of bands in the UK that were really kind of influenced by that kind of stuff, and it had a real scene for a while, didn't it? They
did, and Crime Stereo never really broke through. They sort of, I say they started hardcore because they changed labels and started, I don't know, became post-hardcore, I guess. And I don't think they ever really broke through worldwide. I mean, I saw them, I interviewed them, and then I saw them in London in this tiny little basement about the size of my office. And I walked in, I was like, yeah, it's basement show. This is exactly how I want to see this band. I know that video so well. And about 5 people turned up. And the singer was really unwell, actually. He was like sat down like with like hot water and a flannel, like trying to clear his note. And I sat and had a chat with him, and he was, they sort of didn't want to be, I don't think they really wanted to be there, but they were nice.
The space was so small, they were doing an acoustic set.
Oh no, that would have been awful. That would have been terrible. And then the next time I saw them, they were touring, I saw them at UEA, and they were touring with, there's a massive, almost skate punk type band that everybody really loves and I never got, and the bassist always plays without his top on. He's a big lad. Oh shit, what are they called? Oh, I can't bloody remember. Like massive band. And by then I still loved them, but they were getting quite experimental. And I can remember reading a review for their album that said, I think it was in either Suspect Device or Maximum Rock and Roll, and it said this album is the sound of a band disappearing up its own arse. And it was one of those things I kind of went, shit, they're right. And then they split up shortly afterwards. Oh, it's really bothering me. I can't remember the name of that band. Doesn't matter. Let's move on. So your last choice, it's another choice I'm thrilled to see. Who was that, Jay?
That was the Mighty Bad Brains.
Where was it?
That was at CBGB's. That video's actually got 3 shows on it.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of if you watch the whole thing, there's one point where they're just playing, it just goes black, and then these 80s titles come down. They go, "Oh, the venue blew a fuse," but they just kept playing anyway. And it's great. It's got like, again, there's like people on the stage, all round the stage. It looks like the cast of Suburbia. You've seen that film Suburbia, right? No, you haven't seen Suburbia.
Right, I need to look that up. What is?
Yeah, the like early 80s film Suburbia. It's got a female director. There was another film called Suburbia, and it's not that. It's got DI and TSOL play live. They've got live stuff in it. Yeah.
Oh my god, I need to see that.
It's great. It's got. Do you ever see the film Dogs in Space?
Newfound Glory. Sorry, I just remembered the name of the band. Newfound Glory.
Oh yeah, Newfound. Yeah, they were huge.
Sorry.
They were huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got Suburbia, and then there's a film called Dogs in Space that had Michael Hutchins from In Excess.
Oh my god!
And they kind of copied it.
Up a very old memory there.
Yeah, it's kind of just like about like a punk about a punk squat. Suburbia's got Flea in it, I think.
That's wild. So yeah, 19 Suburbia. Well, Suburbia 1983. The whole thing is on YouTube. So yeah, I am going to watch that.
Definitely watch it. It's great. I think the Pet Shop Boys Run with the Dogs Tonight in Suburbia. That must be taken from that film.
Wow! God, bloody hell! There's an influence you wouldn't necessarily spot.
I might be completely wrong, but it has got dogs running in it, and it's called Suburbia. So,
I like it. I'm sticking with that. But yeah, I've never seen footage of Bad Brains before. Obviously, no Bad Brains, but there's so much opportunity. Oh, hang on, someone's banging on the door. Hello. I'm just recording at the moment. I'll come find you in a minute.
No worries. Cheers.
Yeah, insight into my working life there.
Yeah.
And what struck me is how loose they were. I mean, physically, not the playing. The singers really sort of just very relaxed.
Yeah, they do. So they do. If you're not familiar with the band, they do like 4 hardcore songs, and then they do a reggae song, and then they do 4 hardcore songs again. But they were the band. They were the first band to play, arguably the first band to play punk fast.
Wow, really?
They're wonderful, and that video, like I say, it lasts about an hour, but if you just look at the people in the audience, there's always something new to watch in that video. It's just great.
Some of the best clips from lots and lots of bands are the CBGB's ones. I think because it's just such a cultural touchstone for so much music.
So to open up my can of worms, the drummer in that band was wearing a Bad Brains t-shirt.
In which one?
In Bad Brains, he's wearing he's wearing like a yellow Bad Brains t-shirt in one of the things, and then Adam and the Ants, he wears Adam and the Ants t-shirts quite a lot. Adam Ant,
right? Yeah,
and Koufar. Sometimes I've seen him wearing God Is War and Terracell Unit t-shirts. So the can of worms is wearing your own band t-shirts. Is it okay? Fucked up with the odd ones out, because he doesn't wear a t-shirt very often at all. So it was just something I noticed. It's like, that whole. Is it okay to wear your own band t-shirts? What do you think, Andrew?
I'd say no. I think it's an odd thing, but I think there's probably a line. The bigger your band is, the less okay it becomes. The smaller your band is, the more okay it becomes. And then there's the practical side of it. So we did a tour in Junk Culture. We did a tour around the UK and bought far too many T-shirts, and no one wanted to buy any of them. So I'd say I wore our band T-shirts pretty much exclusively for about the next 18 months, because I had a box full that we weren't going to get any money for, and I wasn't going to chuck them out, and I doubted a charity shop would want them, so I wore them. So that was a very practical reason why I wore them. What are your thoughts on the subject?
I think it's absolutely okay. I know it's not. It's almost like if you're in a band and you get a t-shirt, you want to own the t-shirt sometimes. Not maybe but it's like, it's nice to have a t-shirt. But then what do you do? Just put it in your wardrobe and not wear it, or do you just wear it to sleep in? It's like, I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't know. I think it's like people should just be allowed to wear what they want, and that's it.
Oh, God, yeah, of course. But punk rock ruined my life, so I have to have an opinion on things that don't matter. I realise I'm completely contradicting myself here, because there are 2 These Are End Time t-shirts in existence. There's only 2 that I'm aware of. I've got one and Rocky's got one. And I will wear it to gigs sometimes for advertising. So I went to a metal festival called Helsinki, with 2 L's in the middle. And because it was a metal festival, I wanted to try and get These Are End Times in people's photos and stuff. I mean, talk about like someone at a metal festival watching some sort of 80s thrash black metal band go, oh, hang on, what is it on your T-shirt? Oh, really? That's a band, is it? I must go and look that up. You know, I
And
don't
you're not
think
local, so you're well under the radar. You can get away with it, can't you?
Well, and also, I only met 2 people that day who spoke English, excluding Dr. Sam, who obviously spoke English, and I don't speak any Finnish at all. It's one of those languages, like, when the first time I went to a festival there, I said, I asked Sam, who's lived there for a few years, I said, can you just teach me the basics? Just that I'd like to know how to say thank you or how to say please. I'd put my thumb up then, and then the video did like a thumbs up. Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's good, isn't it?
How strange. What else does it do? Yeah, both of us. And it's one of those languages I couldn't even say like thank you. I just couldn't wrap.
Yeah.
I've got the wrong teeth. I've probably not got enough teeth really to speak the Finnish language. But
my biggest one though, it's almost like the skateboarder who slags people off for wearing a Thrasher hoodie. They're like, you're not a skateboarder, you can't wear a Thrasher hoodie, when they've got like a Patagonia t-shirt on, the pair of Reeboks. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, I'm guessing they're not big on the rock climbing and tennis scene, but it's all right for them to say you can't wear a Thrasher hoodie. It's like, fuck you guys.
No,
wear what you want.
I think it's like people getting really shitty when you could buy like a Ramones t-shirt in Topshop or whatever.
I don't even mind that. Like,
no, who gives a shit? I think at least they're going to get some money, hopefully.
Yeah, even though they're all dead. Like,
well, their estates. God, Tommy's dead as well now, isn't he?
I think so.
There's all loads of peripheral Ramones who are still alive.
Yeah,
there was quite a few people. It was like it's going to take probably 50 or 60 years before we can comfortably say every member of the Fall is dead.
Yeah. It's almost like that Napalm Death thing where the original lineup, they don't have a single original member, do they? It's like the whole band is made up of. No, I don't think so. Yeah, they're like as people have left, people have come in. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they don't have an original member at all now.
Wow, like the Triggers broom of grindcore. Oh, what a lovely thing! Right, so for the last track, I've chosen something which again I just stumbled across, and it's not actually a gig, so I've broken the rules a little bit. It's a bunch of lads sat around a table, but it will make much more sense when I play it. So I should probably just do that.
Snatch your plate from you, see if y'all can fake hunger. Better keep away from us. Okay, I kick up, flip shit, hop, keep it moving. Hip hop, you can't stop this type of movement. I'm a storyteller, so let me get right into it. About this time, I'm almost died over some coochie. Say what? Brown skin, it was this cutie. She threw a party at her crib, told me come through, but damn it, I knew better. Granted, I'm too clever, but I'm from Philly, I'm ready, rumble like whoever. I'm on the way. Something kept telling me, boy, you foolish. Couldn't get a lift from my nigga, so called the Uber. Got dropped off, hit 5 stars. He was the coolest, but not the.
I don't know if you and I have really talked about hip hop. I don't know if you'd like. Do you like hip hop?
We touched on it before. I do, but only. I'm not deep into it. Who is that?
That's they're called Coast Contra, and the video's called Never Freestyle. It's just a freestyle thing. Well, it can't be completely freestyle because that last guy, who is astonishing, tells a whole story really, really nicely, really well written, really like start, middle, end in such a perfect little way. It can't just be like off the top of his head. But yeah. I love that. Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm deep into hip hop. I'm certainly wouldn't. I couldn't answer questions about it like I could like noise music or punk or something. But yeah. I really love that kind of performance where it is just here's a beat. You literally sat around a table taking it in turns to do a bit, and I think that's just I don't know, I just love it. I just think it's really cool. Seems like to me to be like the punk of hip hop.
Yeah,
because it's not like I don't like bling hip hop basically. Like I don't like bling metal or anything that's too polished.
Yeah, I think that whole gangster thing like really kind of rose. You know, it was well known. It was the main kind of hip hop genre for a while, and I think it was probably the first. Well, probably not the first that people heard, but it was kind of like it was almost like that was hip hop, and that was all it was. But yeah, you do have to dig a little deeper, I think.
It's so weird for how what became megastar hip hop, stuff like Puff Daddy, and it's just like stuff that's just cack. It's like saying, "Oh, I don't like punk because I've heard." Oh, I can't think of a punk band I'd be prepared to shit on enough to say to say that. Or like saying, well, I don't like pop music because I've only heard S Club 7. Like, there's some great pop out there. There is. You've just got to dig a little deeper. I think whatever is at the top of the charts and is at the top of the consciousness of listeners is generally the lowest common denominator. It's the least threatening, least interesting of any genre.
Yeah, very often I would agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, it's a wide genre.
Love the fact you're ending the episode with exactly the same conclusion as the last time you were on. Oh, that's absolutely brilliant. Right, so what I'm taking away from this is don't drink 4 cans of tent soup on a coach with no toilet. Did you not like? Oh, I was going to say, do you not consider risking pissing in one of the empty cans? You wouldn't want to get your lad caught on the sharp edge, though, would you?
No, I mean, it was kind of a bus trip, you know. It was.
Did you know other people on the bus, or were they all complete strangers?
Probably knew some people kind of familiar from Hollywoods, probably.
Oh, bloody hell, wow. Right,
on a Monday night.
Going right into Suffolk, kind of a urban... It's not folklore, because it happened, but God, bloody hell, Hollywood.
Pound a pint.
Pound a pint on a Monday.
Yeah.
Salty
always played the
Millers.
Pogues last song.
God. Right, before we go off reminiscing in a way that will mean very little to any of our listeners, I'm going to say thank you very much for being a guest again. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Thank you.
And don't forget to wipe your rectum on the way out.
See you soon, mate.
See ya. Bye. Love you.
Cheers. Bye.